All right, all right. Welcome. So we are now here with the ISFP. What an amazing personality type here. I mean, it's this type has bred some of our greatest musicians, entertainers, creators, artists, um, visionaries, people that care about the world. This is a type that is the home of a lot of those people. And ISFPs, they're very friendly and they're highly creative individuals. They have a deep sense of care for those around them and are in tune with their inner emotions. So this type stays close to the vest. They stay close to the heart. Introverted feeling is their first function, and they have extroverted sensing second. So they are very experiential. They love to explore and connect with the environment, but at the same time, while they love to do that, it's always coming from that introverted feeling space. So they're being authentic, and they have a very authentic relationship with reality. And they have a certain kind of connection with reality because extroverted sensing is that second function. Um, they have a they are fun and love to engage with the world. And even though they generally have an introverted nature, they are actually quite sociable and generally very likable. So, even though they're introverts, they need their space to themselves. They actually are quite social. And a lot of that's because they have introverted feeling first. And so, it's a feeling function. And if they can connect with people on certain values, they go straight into that extroverted sensing and that extroverted thinking. They love to communicate, share ideas, and they actually can be very quite knowledgeable. Like their extroverted thinking, they even though it's a fourth function, they actually can be very well. They can use it very well. They have introverted intuition third, and that's very powerful because it gives them that tunnel vision when it comes to their creations or their work or their art. And that's where you kind of see that visionary kick in. They want to keep going up. They want to push the limits. They want to see what's possible. And they have that deep intuition and that vision to want to get to a certain place. So they have this um, inner kind of quiet uh, competitiveness and drive, and that's very impressive. So come on, this is young Michael Jackson. He was an ISFP and one of the greatest musicians ever, one of the greatest performers ever. And let's just see what it looks like hearing from him as an ISFP, so you can hear that nature, that spirit of the ISFP.
There are hundreds of people in the audience yelling, Michael, Michael. What do you feel like? When they're all holding hands and everybody's rocking and all colors of people are there, all races. And it's the most wonderful thing, and politicians can't even do that.
So you notice he used when he was describing everything, he uses extroverted sensing. He immediately talked about things that he saw, things that he's seen. And that's how they're so closely connected to that extroverted sensing. The extroverted sensing, he can move gracefully. He's very good with his body, his physicality. That's a gift that extroverted sensing has.
He was so mature as a performer that in the early days, people called Michael a 45-year-old midget. As an adult, Michael's professional energy is almost unparalleled, but off stage, he's changed. Do you? Well, I shouldn't say all the time, but I get
Now, what's so interesting is you notice he has a very mild nature. He's very mild mannered and everything like that. But you also notice though that when he's performing and doing his art, he's the strongest. He's like capturing everyone's attention. You would have thought he was an ESFP or one of those more social types, the way he's able to gravitate and grab the crowd. But you notice that's being channeled through his art form, which is in this case music and dance. So they can channel all of that introverted feeling into an artistic or creative passion or pursuit. And that's what makes them so good at what they do, because they have that passion and you could feel it in their art form.
Very easily. And I don't know, sometimes the time I'm most comfortable on stage than any place in the world. Being around, everyday people and stuff, I feel
most comfortable on stage. That lets you know they're most comfortable engaged in their art because their introverted feeling, they're connected to their passion, and their introverted intuition is just focused on that task and doing and moving forward and doing the next best move. And then their extroverted sensing is like getting this rush of senses by doing their art form. And next thing you know, it's like, that they're just building all of this energy and this chi. And that's the beautiful power that ISFPs have.
Strange, I do. Sure? Yeah. It's hard to look at these sophisticated men and believe that for some of them, dating and driving privileges were withheld until the late teens.
Come on, baby! Come on, baby!
Or to think that Michael still lives with mom and dad. There are some people who believe that having always been on stage, you've never had
They
to.
said childish, but that's just the introverted feeling. That's that soft, deep inner feeling, and they're so connected to that. It makes them connected to, they can connect with the 80-year-old adult's experience all the way down to a baby or a child or an animal. Like that introverted feeling allows you to empathize with so many different things around you, and you feel so deeply. They can look at it as childish, right? Because the idea is, oh, you're supposed to be logical and structured and be manly or whatever kind of stereotype they have, and they're kind of like, no, like I want to be authentically connected to how I feel, and they're champions for that.
Deal with the real world. Yeah, that's true in one way. That's true in one way, but it's hard to in my position. I try to sometimes, and but people won't deal with me in that way because they see me differently. They won't talk to me like they will the next door neighbor.
Now, one thing to remember about this type is they have extroverted intuition low as well, and they have extroverted feeling low. So they tend to have kind of like one of their demon function sides is people, and they know when they're doing their gift and their talent, people embrace them. But outside of that, sometimes they can feel isolated or as if they're a weirdo or different because of that. And sometimes it can breed feelings of rejection. And I know a lot of ISFPs that have dealt with that.
Do you ever want to stop? No, don't stop till you get enough. You haven't had enough. No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Introverted feeling, his gut tells him what is right for him. That's what introverted feeling is about. I mean, I think that's more of a looser way to explain it because it's not really your gut telling you what's right. It's more so your emotional intelligence. And that's what we'll say that for another video. But introverted feeling is very connected to emotional intelligence. And that's what he's saying is when my emotional intelligence is saying this is right, I'm going to trust it.
The thing I like most about being on stage is making people happy. Because I feel I'm here on earth for a reason. And I think that's my job to do that. I've been doing it for so long. And as long as the people enjoy it, I'll always be happy.
All right, so let's move on. So we see who is the ISFP. ISFPs are gentle and compassionate individuals who prioritize harmony and authenticity in their lives. So I think that's important to understand. ISFPs are very good-natured people for the most part. Most ISFPs you'll meet are very sincere. They value authenticity and authentic expression. They want to express themselves authentically. But what's beautiful about ISFPs is they also hold the space for other people to express themselves authentically. And that's what makes them really good friends and really good people to have around. They have a deep appreciation for beauty and creativity. They have that extroverted sensing, so that they are very connected to what they see and the symmetrics of things and the balance and beauty of the nature that's around them. And they want to interplay with that. And they want to they also have the ability to actually just embrace it. And so when it comes to things like, art, creativity, music, and other forms of, aesthetic expression, they love to express themselves through those channels because they're looking at this art. They're looking at the environment, they're feeling a certain way and connecting with it, and they want to translate that. And that's where art comes. They translate it through these mediums. And even if they're not doing art, they still bring amazing insight to the environments and people that they're around. ISFPs value their personal values and beliefs strongly, seeking meaningful connections and experiences that align with their inner convictions. So that's a big thing. They're not the types to have a million friends. They definitely can have a million friends. A lot of people take a liking to ISFPs, but they generally value close relationships and people that they can connect with on that introverted feeling, people that they truly share values with and good connections with. And while they may be reserved initially, they are warm and supportive friends who care deeply about the well-being of others. And I totally champion that. They want the best for the world. They do have that idealist energy, even though they're not super intuitive. They do have intuition third. So they have a very close connection with ideas. And they have that introverted feeling that is a dreamer in its own essence. Your feelings, if you're feeling good and you're around people, you're going to want them to feel good. Or if people are feeling bad, you're going to feel bad. And that's how ISFPs are. And in those moments, their extroverted sensing wants to do something in the immediate environment to help that person. And when you are growing up with that kind of nature, it makes you go out of your way to create and perform and champion and do things to really be of service to the people around you. So shout out to the ISFPs for that. And let's take a look at some of the ISFP characteristics.
You've got a juicy leading role in this film.
Yeah.
How'd you get it?
It sounds like I won something in a game show, huh? We're flying to Los Angeles. Yeah, okay, I did it. You see, when American movies come to shoot in Canada, they have to have a certain amount of Canadian content. So you usually end up playing the guy's best friend or his enemy, he's
Or
sort of
a
like
secretary.
Jim. Or a secretary, right.
What's it like now that you're here? You're
Now, don't
doing.
get me wrong. I've heard Keanu Reeves is an ENFP, but for the sake of this video, we're going to look at the ISFP qualities that are there. And one thing that you can see is introverted feeling. He has introverted feeling. He's feeling deeply. You can tell he's passionate in what he's doing. You could tell he's interested in what he's doing. And you feel that from the ISFP in general.
And here's the set. What's it like?
What's it like? It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. Well, the thing is, I'm playing
Identify dominant, a deep awareness of his own emotions and values. So when he's telling you what he's feeling, it's coming from a deep place. It's not performative. It's not trying to make himself look good. It's literally like, this is how I feel, and here's the truth. And you can hear that.
17-year-old body with a 40-year-old mind, okay? But then I had to play with my conception of 40, which was sort of older, right? You look at a 40-year-old and go, you're old. But he's not. Robert Urich, I was watching him, he's a bouncy guy, and so I was trying to get that in there as well. I'm basically confused.
You are, but it sounds like a juicy, challenging role, and it's good that you got this one, and we look forward to seeing you in other things, and thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Are you still nervous?
And that introverted feeling is very, very friendly, very nice. You know what I mean? So that's cool. And then this is Keanu Reeves older.
Nervous? Like the first time?
And it's cool that you get to see a different flavor of this person as he matures. And whether he's an ISFP or an ENFP, one thing we know is he's going to have introverted feeling as his first or second function regardless. And you can see how introverted feeling goes from being this bubbly, optimistic, super, charismatic and caring, and then it starts to groom itself after it's experienced more of life, and it has this more refined feel.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's like nervous, but so excited. And, over the years, with experience, you feel like you do your work and you come prepared. But there's always the excitement of, if we're doing a scene together and we've rehearsed, but now it's the first time that we go, and the director says action, it's exciting. We don't know what's going to happen.
All right, and there you go. That's why they might have him as an ISFP here, because that is the extroverted sensing language. Now, once again, it still could be 50-50. I think he's doing a very good job of explaining his experience, but that is extroverted sensing. It's being able to play and interplay, whether it's a fight scene. This Keanu Reeves does a lot of fight scenes. You can imagine that's triggering his extroverted sensing. That's making him feel alive. So I can see this fitting right here.
Which is pleasurable. I like that. But a great night. Like I remember I went recently to Gravity with a friend, and it was a packed movie theater, and you got the popcorn, and the screen is huge. It's 3D. It's
this sounds like some I see right here. So he's looking like an ISFP to me right now. That extroverted sensing, you could tell it's like he's enjoying, he's looking at it like it's such an experience, right? Some intuitives can be so much in their head, they're just like, oh, yeah, there's a TV there or whatever. For him, he's very engaged with it. He's very present with it. So I love that explanation.
Great night out. People are excited. I love that experience. I love going to the movies.
So I know
A motorcycle, I like the motorcycle.
you love motorcycles.
Yeah.
How many motorcycles do you have?
I have a couple of Nortons and I have a custom motorcycle.
That's high
To the
SE.
critics and listen to the audience. When a movie is fantastic, like Matrix, everything is okay.
Sure.
But when it doesn't,
Yeah.
what do you feel? How do you take it?
Oh my gosh, it's horrible. It's terrible. Yeah, I mean, you hope that people like the work that you're a part of and that you do. For me, it's even tougher when you have and this hasn't happened a lot, but a couple of times where you have a great, a hope. You go into making a project and you're like, okay, and then it doesn't turn out as well as you hoped, and that's a disaster. But yeah, criticism's tough. I mean, you hope that people enjoy it,
All right, so there we go. That was awesome. And like you said, he likes motorcycles. That's extroverted sensing, and then finally, when things don't work out with these movies, he feels bad because his introverted feeling is empathizing with the director and the executive producers. And it's like, oh man, it's, I feel for them. And you can feel that there. So, all right. So strengths and weaknesses. So one of the strengths we want to talk about is artistic and being creative. Obviously, that they are, when it comes to being artistic and creative, they are off the charts. They are in the highest percentile of that type. Sensitive and empathetic. That's a beautiful quality. They hold the space for people. They're very caring, and they have good intent. They're generally very good intentioned individuals because that introverted feeling is their first function. It's hard for them to do devious things because it doesn't feel right. When your feeling is such a high function, it's their first function. You just feel super connected to everything. And as a result, it makes it harder to do things that are independent of how people are going to feel. And that's maybe the advantage of the introverted thinking dominant types, or thinking dominant types in general, is like the more that you're a thinking dominant type, you can make decisions that without caring about how it's going to make people feel. But the higher feeling you have, that gets in the way. And it can create challenges for them, but it also can be one of their strongest characteristics because they stand for what's right. They stand for authenticity and they stand for caring. And they really are champions for people. They're really champions for causes, champions for people that, might be neglected. I mean, they are one of those types where they fight for causes and they really care about people that, might not have the support. And so that's what makes them beautiful. They're adaptable. That's them having that introverted feeling, extroverted sensing. They can go with the flow. They're willing to do different things. They want to see different things. They're loyal and supportive. That's once again an introverted feeling. They're very connected to the people that they're very close to, and they value the ones. Their heart is a special place to them. It's very close to them, so they're going to only let people close to them that respect their heart space, that give them that respect where they can feel comfortable and safe to be themselves. And they're hands-on and practical, and that's that extroverted sensing, hands-on. That's why a lot of these type of artists, they're moving their body or they're drawing. They're doing painting, they're doing dancing, they're doing something creative using their body, or they can be involved in the science pursuits or whatever. But they can be very hands-on. They have that ability to be very grounded, and they tend to keep a connection to nature, and they like to be grounded and connected to. Things that make them feel rooted. In terms of weaknesses, they can have an avoidance of conflict, and that's just introverted feeling. Once again, you don't want to harm people or hurt people because you feel that empathy for them. So the last thing they want is to be in conflict or having a battle and be negative with people because nobody wins in that situation. They don't feel that same joy of conquering the opponent that other types may feel. It just doesn't do it for them the same way. Of course, it does in certain situations when they're championing a cause. But just to have, meaningless conflict, it doesn't do nothing for them. They have a difficulty with long-term planning. Obviously, that's because of that lower intuition and their extroverted intuition, which is very long-term planning, and introverted sensing, which is, introverted sensing is like keeping your affairs in order, and extroverted intuition is like predicting where things are going in the future. Both of those functions are in their lower 4 stack. So they're not dealing with that. They're very present, moment to moment. And you got to imagine when you're very present and moment to moment, you can miss things, especially those things that you got to maintain and keep an eye on that come up. They're reserved in private. At times, they can be reserved in private. ISFPs come in different flavors. Some can be very social, but the main point is if you're not one of their main people, they're generally going to deal with you in a certain capacity, and they have the risk of being overly sensitive. That's a big one, and the big reason for that is because they have introverted feeling as a first function. That introverted feeling is the most sensitive function, and don't let nobody tell you different. Extroverted feeling would probably be the second most, but introverted feeling is sensitive because it is the feeling is worn so close to the awareness. So that feeling is so close to the awareness that when it's not feeling good, the awareness feels it at a very deep level. And so, negative feelings, they can feel it in their body. I mean, it's no joke. They wear it very close. And so that's something to be in mind, to keep an eye on. And they have a difficulty with structure. And that's just them. They're extroverted thinking, which is the structure function. It is the thinking function of how to organize reality around you objectively. That's their fourth function. And then they're introverted thinking, which is what you think and your ability to think moment to moment is their last function. So if I had to say one of the biggest challenges for this type is their thinking. And a lot of it boils down to them just trusting their thoughts. This is a type where their feelings can override whatever they think. Sometimes they might not make the most structured plans because the way they feel is in the way. So that's something to keep in mind. And so what happens when this type that has introverted feeling first, when they go out of whack, when they're going through their stressors, what does that look like when you see introverted feeling in the grip, especially introverted feeling as a first function in the grip? Well, let's take a look at how the ISFP looks in those situations.
Me. I'll pay for my own whiskey, and don't you forget it.
Holly.
Do not accept drinks from disapproving gentlemen.
So they can be self-destructive. That's a big one because they have extroverted sensing second. So in times of stress or pain, they can go deeper into their senses, and sometimes that's not good. And so that's how this can look.
Especially not disapproving gentlemen who are kept by other ladies. So take it. You should be used to taking money from ladies by now.
If I were you, I'd be more careful with my money. Rusty trawler is too hard a way of earning it.
It should take you exactly 4 seconds to cross from here to that door. I'll give you 2.
So because they have a negative introverted feeling, they're not feeling good. What they're doing is they're not thinking. As you can see, she's not really thinking necessarily clearly. And, but yet she's still in the environment, still present, still engaging with the environment. And you can see she's not in her best state. Let's see what happens.
Hi.
What do you want?
I want to talk to you.
I'm busy.
What are you doing?
Reading.
South America, land of...
You got to remember they have introverted feeling and they have introverted intuition. And that introverted intuition can be tunnel vision. So when they feel as though, somebody hurt them, they feel very sensitive. A lot of the time they can block people out, as a defense mechanism.
Wealth and promise.
It's very interesting.
Let's get out of here. I said, let's get out of here. I want to talk to you. It's
the matter with you anyway? What's happened?
Fred, would you please just leave me alone?
Holly.
She's shutting down the feelings, tunnel vision. Now this guy's obviously doing too much right now, but let's see how she responds.
I love you.
Now he said, I love you, which is really like an extroverted feeling type of thing. You know, it's like showing that you care. And her introverted feeling feels uncomfortable. It doesn't feel authentic. And that goes to show you when ISFPs don't feel like they're around people or in environments where they can be their authentic selves or where they feel comfortable. This is what they do. They get out of there.
Where are you going?
To the ladies' room.
What's the matter with you anyway?
Let me go.
No.
Fred, please let me go.
Let's get something straight. I am not now, nor have I ever been Fred. Nor am I Benny Shacklet, whoever he may be. My name is Paul. Paul Varjak, and I love you.
Let me go.
Not till we get this settled. Now, what's all this jazz about South America?
I thought if I'm going to marry a South American, I'd better find out something about the country.
Marry? What South American?
Jose.
Who the hell's Jose?
Jose de Silva Pereira.
Who the hell's Jose de Silva Pereira?
Darling, you met him. I know you did. Mag Wildwood's friend. The tall, good-looking one who came to the party with Rusty. Well, my dear, you won't believe this. But it turns out not only is he handsome and wildly rich, he's absolutely cuckoo for me.
You're crazy.
What, do you think you own me?
That's exactly what I think.
I know, that's what everybody always thinks, but everybody happens to be wrong.
Look, I am not everybody. Or am I? Is that what you really think?
All right, there you go. So, I mean, the main thing to take from that is that when ISFPs, they can isolate themselves. When they're not feeling good, they can, you got to think about extroverted thinking is their fourth function, and extroverted sensing is their second function. So if they want to shut people out, what they'll do is they'll stay in their inner world, and they can be in scenarios where they feel really bad. And let's go to the next slide because we kind of touch on that. The functional loops. What are the negative loops that they can get into? You know what I mean? And let's talk about this. This is important. I mean, number one, they have introverted feeling first, as you can see, and they have introverted intuition. So what does that mean when they get caught into this loop of introversion is that they can become so depressed and so focused on a negative, tunnel focused on a negative outcome that makes them feel really bad. And what happens is they shut off that extroverted sensing. They're not going out. They're not leaving their environment. They're not exploring. They're just stuck in the house. And they're extroverted thinking. They're not communicating with people. They're not talking to people. And they can become very isolated. And that's very dangerous. That's where you can see a lot of ISFPs can fall into depression. I know one ISFP, Kurt Cobain, committed suicide, because of, I feel as though it was a scenario where he was feeling so negative and he didn't see a way out because that tunnel vision of introverted intuition made him feel like there were no options. And what I'm here to say is like, there are other options. And I know your extroverted thinking is fourth, but that's what this video is all about, is letting you know, yeah, it's fourth. So yeah, you might not trust with people, maybe, yeah, in terms of talking to people and communicating, you might not feel like doing that all the time. Yeah, your extroverted feeling is lower, but take the time to get perspective. Take the time to talk to your close friends. Share your truth. Don't hold all that energy in, because what's going to balance you out and break you out of that grip is going to be balancing out. You might feel negative, but if you go out into the world, get new inspiration, see new things, be around positive people, get new ideas, you will find yourself feeling better and you will find your reality change. But when you are just tunnel vision, negative, and you're stuck and cooped up in the house, there's no way for you to get any positive information in. So you got to balance that with, look, even when you're low in the dumps, go out, go to a place or an environment. It might be nature, it might be a museum, whatever, but see something new, taste something new. And I'm telling you, trust that life will balance you out, but you have to stay connected. Okay, that's huge. And for the extroversion, extroverted sensing and extroverted thinking. This is simply when ISFPs can get caught in situations where when they feel negative, they try to go into their external aspect and they overdo it, which is they get lost in their senses. This can play out as drugs, as depressants, antidepressants, whatever, like things that they indulge in to numb the feelings. And that's when they get caught into a cycle of abuse, of using lower, things that aren't really helpful for their spirit. And so that's something to keep in mind for you all. Don't when you find yourself overindulging in the environment, it's time for you to balance out. Because if you keep going, something negative is going to happen. You need to stay balanced. That's when it's time to kind of get back and get connected with how you feel, get grounded, focus on, okay, where's the direction am I going in again? And then boom, get back to it. And you will be very powerful. There's some amazing ISFP types. I mean, Kanye West is an ISFP. I mean, they really have different flavors. But that's very important for you to understand your loops, because this is your balance here. When you're feeling negative, your thinking is what's going to balance you out, getting perspective, thinking about the right things, looking for solutions. That's what's going to help you feel better. And when you're engaged in your senses, what's going to keep you grounded is, all right, hold on. Where am I trying to go? Where's the vision? What are we moving toward? And that's going to keep you grounded. So what's the gift that you have? The gift is willpower. And it's funny because a lot of people don't associate willpower with ISFPs, right? They think, oh, they're artists, they're nice, friendly, bubbly people. But what they don't understand is no, they have immense willpower. And a lot of that is because they have introverted feeling first. So they are passionate about what they do. And when you pair that with introverted intuition, which is all about making the next move, it's this momentum forward. They have both of those. So they have this visionary element. And when they lock in on something and they're passionate about it and they lock in on it, they're going to use their extroverted sensing and extroverted thinking to power them through to get it done. Okay, so you have an inner strength and resilience that many aren't aware of. When it comes to your craft or your art forms, you are a perfectionist. You have that introverted intuition that sees exactly how you want it to look, exactly how you want it to be. And you put your energy in the moment, and you have this reservoir of extroverted sensing energy and power to power you toward that vision. So you were given a gift. One of the biggest gifts you were given was that extroverted sensing as a second function. You have a very primal side. And a lot of the time, ISFPs don't fully tap into that, but it's within you. You have a very tough, powerful side. And your willpower is expressed, whether it's through your art, whether it's through physical things, athletics, whatever. People can feel your strength. And the fact that you have the passion and vision to pair with that, you have the tools to be unstoppable. When you're deeply focused, you aim to provide a high quality product unlike any other. And you're always moving forward, and you have an ability to push past obstacles and find the silver lining at the end. And that's what I got to say. I mean, ISFPs I know have gone through some tremendous difficulties, I know, and they have not let it stop them. They really are unstoppable when they put their mind to something. And the beautiful thing about it is they can go through all of these challenges and overcome. But guess what? When you talk to them, they still keep that soft-hearted nature. They're still optimistic and they're still loving. And that is, to me, a demonstration of their strength. Okay? So that's why willpower is your gift. And and the big thing that you all have as the secret hidden power is courage. Okay? You are quietly bold, willing to share your gifts with the world. You're unafraid to explore. ISFPs are constantly pushing themselves to the edge in whatever pursuit they may be passionate about. They are highly authentic, willing to fight for truth and justice. They are fun-loving individuals who are loyal, and they are highly talented and creative individuals who think out of the box and push the limits of creativity. It takes courage to be an introverted feeler first. It takes courage to follow your heart. It takes courage to stay authentic. It takes courage to push your art out there in front of people. But you do it. And you do it with pride, and you do it with joy, and you do it with strength. Even when Michael Jackson was up there on that stage, there was a strength and power to his performance that comes from practice and dedication. ISFPs are always pushing the envelope. They're always trying to be better. And they're positive people that want to be better. And so you will find ISFPs throughout the world and some of the most, doing some of the most amazing things in the world. And they have the courage to do it. They have the extroverted sensing to power them through and to experience life and be in the thick of life and be willing to be in the thick of life because they have a unique connection. And that's why I chose this picture. that courage of being at the top of the mountain, but sitting there and enjoying the view. That's what ISFPs are all about. And that's just the beautiful qualities that they bring. So I just want to give a shout out to all the ISFPs out there. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you know an ISFP, I hope this gives you more context into their world. This is a very strong personality type. And if you happen to have ISFPs around you, man, what you might be surprised is that they're a lot stronger than you think. And, give them a shout out, give them a call, talk to them, because they have extroverted thinking forth. So it's good for them to have those people that are close to them to stay connected with them. It does a lot, and it adds a lot to them. So with that being said, we're going to move on to the next type. Let's keep it rolling, man. We're over 50% past now. We got 10 of the types done. We got 6 more. So you might as well rock out, learn about these 6, and live your best life. I'll talk to you all in the next video. Peace.